So I'm going to start by saying that today is August 17th, which means that it is both the first day of the second International Deaf Online Research Symposium, and it is also the 60th birthday of my brother, Shavit. Tal was supposed to be 60 years old today, but he was killed on March 2nd, 2011, when he was 55 and a half. So I'm not going to light the candles because I don't want to set the smoke detectors on. And also because there's no one to blow the candles. Being away from our mother today is difficult for me, and it is also difficult for her. But since everything that I'm doing in this field is dedicated to my brother and in his memory, I felt like being here today is the right thing to do. But I had to share this with you that today is his 60th birthday. He turned a grandfather this year. His daughter gave birth. So yes, so I couldn't go onto Facebook so much today because I knew that if I would see what people are writing on his wall, it would be too difficult for me. So I'm saving that for later in the day. So why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? I am a practical person, and I thought that this is a wonderful opportunity to have this think tank of people coming from various backgrounds, various countries, various academic disciplines, to come out of this symposium with hopefully something tangible, something that we could take back home with us and hopefully help to implement, something that we could think about solutions to the problem, which I will explain in a minute what do I mean by problem in a minute, but I hope that we can share with each other what solutions are we aware of that perhaps other members in this group are not aware of, and also think what other solutions could be created which have not been created yet. And I really want to take this opportunity and see what could come up with having experts in digital death at the same place at the same time. So this is what I'm going to talk about, what more can be done. So I'm going to take you around. By the way, do you see well enough? Do you need me to close the shutters?
No,
okay. So I'm going to take you around a short stroll around the letter D. D is also digital death, and also the name of my blog, Digital Dust. So the letter D comes in handy today. So, what's the problem? Is that right?
Good for me.
Okay, so you can call it digital death, digital legacy, digital assets, digital inheritance, digital data, digital content. I'm calling it an unsolved problem. What do I mean by that? People die, as we know, and when they die, they leave behind lots of stuff, which is digital and virtual and online. Think about how much we're leaving behind in our computers, laptops, computers in the office, computers at home, portable hard disks, cloud storage, cloud backup, just the list goes on. And so much of what we're leaving behind, which will be meaningful to our loved ones, is in digital formats. And currently the situation is that in most cases, our loved ones will not have access to all this wealth of digital realms that we're leaving behind, which could have sentimental values or identity values, like we've heard in the previous presentation, and also financial or business importance, which could all be lost beyond being able to retrieve it. Now, in the past, after someone passed away, we would just, open the drawers and browse through the documents, letters, photo albums, diaries, etc. And we could decide among ourselves in the family circle, what are we going to do with that? Are we going to open it or not? How are we going to deal with that? But today, we have to look inside the hard drive in order to get the equivalent of what we used to get by opening a drawer. This is Jake Anderson. Jake was 19 years old when he was found dead in December 2013 on a riverbank. Now, nobody understands what he was doing in a riverbank in frozen Minnesota at midnight in December, but the police deemed it was an accident and not a crime, and so the police did not go into his phone. And this is what his mother, Christy, has to say about this. Nobody should have to face the roadblocks that we've had in just trying to see this stuff. His parents turned to his smartphone for answers, but were denied access to his digital data. Christy Anderson's main goal is to find closure. It's going to impact everyone. More and more of us are using the cell phone as our photo albums, our phone books, our filing cabinets. This is Benjamin, or Ben Stassen. Just hold for a second to change the angle here. Okay, so this is Benjamin, or Ben Stassen. Ben committed suicide when he was 21 years old in 2010. You can see here with his parents, Helen and Jay. He didn't leave a note. His parents wanted to know why did their son take his own life. They wanted to go to the digital equivalent of that drawer. They wanted to go into his Facebook account and Google account and were denied access. They went to court. Court ruled in their favor. Google gave them a copy of the content of its email account. Facebook continued to fight, and this is what his mother had to say. We have served them with a court order, and they're giving us negotiations. People need to understand how difficult this is. There will be other parents in our situation, or a spouse, who knows, because Facebook made them sign a contract saying that they will not reveal the content of Ben's Facebook account to people outside the immediate members of the family before it agreed to give them what was inside that account, and this was after the court ruled in favor of the parents. In 2013, I conducted a survey in Israel. It was the first survey I ever conducted. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, which is probably good, otherwise we wouldn't have had the survey. It's the first survey held in Israel in Hebrew dealing with digital legacy. 500 people replied to it. And you can see the results of that survey online in my blog in English. And last year, where's Anna? Thanks to Anna. Some of the results of this survey were published in Finland in Thanatos magazine. It's called Online Legacies, Online Service Providers and the Public, a Clear Gap. Because what came out of the results of my survey, Mike was, some other people helped, but I initiated it. What came out of the survey is people would like to get access or a copy of their loved one's online account after their death, and they're in for a rude awakening when they would try and contact those platforms and websites and ISP and ask for that, for access or copies, because they're going to be denied, because in most cases that's currently the policy. And because there's not enough awareness of this yet, people do not leave their own wishes behind, so we cannot respect the wishes of the deceased because we don't know what those wishes are. So again, you can read some of the results of the survey in Thanatos magazine in our paper. Now I'm just going to give you a glimpse of the results. We asked what should be the default in the absence of instructions from the deceased. And 72.4 replied that the ISP should allow access to the online account of the deceased to his or her family. They think that this should be the default, that the family does get access, and we know that that's not what's happening in real life. We asked, should parents be legally able to gain access to the deceased child's online assets, and 53.2 said even without the deceased agreement. And then we narrowed it down, we put a filter, and we looked at the pictures of only, of the answers of only people who stated they had children. So we could see the answers only from parents, and it's even higher. Among parents, only 62.8 think that even without the deceased agreement, parents should have access to their children's online legacies. So, what solutions to this problem are we already familiar with? There are some in-house solutions. Google was the first in 2013 launching their inactive account manager. Yahoo were the second in 2014 with their Yahoo ending, but it's only in Japanese and in Japan, so we can't really take that too much into consideration. And of course, in 2015, Facebook launched their legacy contact feature. It is now only available in the United States, Canada, the UK, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, but it should be available worldwide sooner or later. Now, all these solutions are not perfect solutions, if you ask for my opinion, but at least there is some in-house solution for those companies. We are also aware of external solutions. In the Digital Beyond, they have a list of digital death and afterlife online service list, and it goes on and on and on and on, and we're just at the letter D. There's also a list in my blog, in Digital Task, of all kinds of solutions. And one of the solutions is a password manager, which allows us to manage our passwords while we're still alive. And if we wish to bequeath this master password because we want people to be able to access everything, then we can. Now, it's important to stress that there's no one right decision. Maybe you want your loved ones to access everything, or nothing, or some. Any decision is good, just someone needs to know what those wishes are. So we can see some of those solutions, but there are many more. It's hard to keep track and keep updating, but so many of them. So password blocks. Password blocks are the first to offer. They are a way to manage your passwords while you're still alive, but they're also the first to offer digital hair. You can bequeath your master password through their service, and this is because they purchased Legacy Locker. Now, I'm saying maybe us as consumers have an opportunity here to contact other password managers, such as 1Pass and LastPass, etc., and say, hey, we want this feature too. We want to be able to bequeath our master password as well. You don't have to purchase any company to do it. Just implement this feature. Maybe we have the power to do that by approaching them if we're using their services. Experian did research in 2012, and they found out that the average Briton has 26 different online accounts, and in the ages of 25 to 34, it's no fewer than 40. Now, we can't expect ourselves to remember so many passwords, let alone expect our loved ones or kin or heirs to know where all these online accounts are, let alone what the usernames and passwords for all these accounts are. Another solution that we're already familiar with is legislation. I'm sure you all know that you will see the Uniform Fiduciary Access last year released their beautiful, if I may use that word, act. The Uniform Fiduciary Access to Digital Assets Act is an important update for the internet age. They drafted this bill, which can be used in all the states of the United States of America. A generation ago, files were stored in cabinets, photos were stored in albums, and mail was delivered by a human being. Today, we're more likely to use the internet to communicate and store information. This act ensures account holders retain control of the digital property and can claim for its ultimate disposition after their death. Unless the account holder instructs otherwise, legally appointed fiduciaries will have the same access to digital assets as they have always had to tangible assets, and the same duty to comply with the account holder's instructions. What it means in a nutshell, and why I think it's beautiful, is that same thing as a fiduciary has access to physical assets, automatically, he should have access to digital assets as well, automatically, unless the account holder specified otherwise. So this has already been embraced by Delaware exactly a year ago in August 2014, and there are currently 26 countries in various stages of trying to implement this act in the United States. Now, last September, Yahoo published that they are against this ULC Act, which made me very angry. They said, your digital will, your choice. And I'm saying, really, Yahoo? Because you said, we believe that account holders and individuals, not legislators, should determine what happens to a person's digital archive at the time of their death. if this is what you believe, why don't you ask your users what their wishes are? Because you're not asking your users either. You just say that after death, if a family member were to approach Yahoo, the only thing they would do is delete their account. You're not giving them any choices, so how dare you oppose this act? I have a whole post of ranting about this in the blog if you're interested in reading more about it. So I would say, if you want to be helpful, how about when we're opening an online account and we're asked to sign that we agree the terms and conditions, why don't we also get asked what you would like to happen with that account after our death? Why don't you just ask us if you think it's so important to fulfill our wishes? Because I agree, that I'm always getting privacy questions, and I'm saying, fine. If you think that deceased would not have wanted his content to be shared, fine, but just ask him. There's no right answer for everybody. Just ask him what would they have wanted. And we can be asked this when we're opening an account. But also we can be asked this after we've opened the account, because we are users and they have ways of contacting us. For instance, Google is constantly asking us what would happen if you lost access to your Google account tomorrow. They're asking us to provide them with alternate email address and phone number, and they're also targeting us. They're sending it to be in Hebrew and in English. So if they can contact their users directly, why not contact the users directly and say, hey, by the way, we have this wonderful feature called Inactive Account Manager. You probably never heard about it, but how about you think about using it? And again, it's not a perfect solution, but at least it's a start. Same thing with Facebook. Facebook asks us directly through our feed to answer surveys, for instance. Why not say, hey, by the way, we have this feature called Legacy Locker, Legacy Contact, sorry. Why don't you don't have to sign up to it, just know that it exists. Because I interviewed someone from Facebook and she said, no, we're not going to be contacting our users directly, we expect them to hear about it from the media. Now, where is Karina? There is a Greek angle. I don't know if you heard about this, but the Capital Control cut off Greek access to iTunes, Outline, and PayPal in July. So you don't even have to be dead to face digital death problems, because people found themselves locked out of their accounts. So I'm saying, you know, maybe this is a good opportunity to make you think about this, because you realize how frustrating it is to be locked out of your own account. So imagine how frustrated your loved ones will be when they will be locked out of their accounts. Of your accounts as well. Another solution we're already familiar with is call to action. Already back in 2012, in the official blog of the USA government, they published a post saying how and why you should write a social media will. And last year, the England and Wales Law Society published a call to action saying people should leave clear instructions about what should happen to the social media, computer games, and other online accounts after their death, according to the Law Society. Having a list of all your online accounts, such as email, banking, investment, and social networking sites, will make it easier for family members to piece together your digital legacy, adhere to your wishes, and could save time and money. People should not assume family members know where to look online and to make details of their digital life absolutely clear. Another solution that we're always familiar with is advertising campaign. There are several advertising campaigns regarding organ donation. For instance, in 1996, Michael Jordan took part in a campaign saying, share your life, share your decision. And I'm saying this was back in 1996. How about in 2016, we do share your digital life, share your decision campaign. Insurance. Maybe insurance is the way to get our foot in the door. Because when people are doing their insurance for traveling abroad, or for doing extreme sports, or just doing their life insurance, maybe we could say, hey, by the way, we have a bonus point for you. Why don't you also think about what will happen to all your digital accounts if something were to happen to you? Another way for us to maybe get the foot in the door is to target specific sectors as our target audience. For instance, security guards. pilots and flight attendants, policemen and policewomen, firefighters. How about if we approach them and we say, hey, you know what, you're doing this service to society and you're putting your life at risk, now society can do something for you in return. We can make you think about something that maybe you haven't thought of, and once you have thought about it, you would realize how much it means to you, or it could mean to your loved ones. How about you think before going to work of taking care of your digital assets? Military. Military is another target audience, which seems to be pretty obvious because there are young people who are in danger. And back in 2011, 1000 Memories said that with teenagers, 86% of the history is digital. And with people that are 25 years old, 72% of their history is digital. So if a young person were to die now in the military, his parents would be left without so much of his history, because so much of it is currently online and digital and virtual. And like we said, like we heard, it's part of their identity, not only part of their memories. Hospitals. Sadly, Astrid isn't here this year, but Astrid was here in Durham in the previous symposium, and she presented something that was mind-blowing for me. She presented this booklet, which is being distributed in hospitals in Denmark, and surprisingly enough, it has a digital clause. When people are dying people are getting this booklet with points to think about before the death, and there's also a digital clause to it, and I'm saying that's so wonderful. But let's not keep it only to dying people. How about if everybody that goes into surgery, you have to sign so many forms before you go into surgery, how about in those forms there was also something making you think that what would happen even if you had to access your own accounts, because this is a WhatsApp message I got last month. It says a friend of a friend went into a difficult surgery and he came out of that surgery not remembering his own passwords. So again, we don't have to die in order to face digital death problems. So how about when we fill those forms before we do a surgery, we say, hey, just in case you have a temporary memory loss or a long-term memory loss or something where to get wrong and you get crippled or ill, how about all those online accounts? So what I would like us to do now is to work in each group and first share what existing solutions are you aware of, because like Astrid presented this solution that she was aware of that happened in Denmark, and the rest of us, most of us, weren't aware of it. So I want to hear from you what solutions are you already aware of, and I would like to hear what other solutions can you come up with which don't exist yet, and hopefully we can take afterwards back home with us and implement. So in each group we're going to nominate someone who's going to be in charge, sort of. And just brainstorm, write down everything, don't censor, don't be critic, just pour. And then we're going to hear from a representative of each group what you came up with, and our lovely assistant, Magdalene, is going to write it all on the board for us. And then hopefully we're going to come out, we're going to come out of this with something tangible that we could work with, because for me personally, if we just leave this as a fascinating discussion, then we are not doing enough. And I want to make an active change. So I want you to help me do that. So let's think about more Okay, so as you can understand, this day has been a bit emotional for me, and I didn't sleep too much last night. It was Favorite's last words. When I said, yes, I'm going to sleep well, I was so wrong. Favorite's last words never said they're going to sleep well. So I forgot to introduce myself. So better late than never. My name is Rose, or Vered, for the many Hebrew speakers among us. And I'm 41 years old, 42 next month. So, because this is a day about the ages and birthdays. And I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel. And I've been dealing with digital death issues since my brother was killed in March 2nd, 2011. And I have a blog, Digital Dust, and I do independent research. I'm not part of the academy. I was very honored when I was invited to join the network, even though I'm not part of the academy. And I write about this, and I read about this, and I teach it, and I lecture it, and I give talks about it. And I'm working in two levels. One is to raise awareness to these issues, and the other is to provide information to bereaved families who are dealing with these things. I wrote a guide which can be downloaded for free from my blog. It's a guide to deal with the digital aspects following a death. It exists in Hebrew and in English, and that's, I think, it. But I'm not thinking too clearly. Okay.